Hi, I'm Chris Anderson. I was the writer, director, cinematographer, and editor of What Tiger Wishes. Our film is about a little girl who struggles with growing up in an abusive household and then as an adult has to reconcile with her absentee father. The story and the characters in our film were inspired by a lot of experiences and relationships between people in my own family and in the family of my co-screenwriter, Aaron Brain. In particular, the kind of like emotional core of the film with the protagonist struggling with an absent parent was directly inspired by the experiences of Aaron, who wrote a short screenplay, which basically is the conflict at the end of the film. And I just thought it was so powerful and so touching. I wanted to expand off of it. So it's inspired by that and various other ideas that we'd had based on experiences in our families. So yeah, we knew going into it that having a film which is so emotionally heavy, dealing with domestic like abuse and verbal violence, that we didn't want to subject the actress Nadia Fancher, who's a child in the film, to too much. We'd already worked with her, and she'd been in some horror productions that we had done, so she was used to being in kind of uncomfortable, scary situations. But what we did do was, if you notice, in all of the moments where the parents are really getting at each other, Nadia is not in the frame. So we would have to go sit out. She would just not be there when they're really screaming at each other. And then moments where she is in the frame, yeah, we had the parents dial it down a little bit and pulled in audio from other moments, just to keep it a little bit easier on set. Yeah, despite the very like heavy and kind of violent uh, feeling of the film, production was pretty smooth and everybody had a pretty good time in between sets. I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the two actors who play the parents are two of the nicest people imaginable. And between every single take, they were like, very excited. You know, the next one asked, "How was that?" You know, I had a great time working with them. But I think we probably weren't as prepared for exactly how um, disturbing some of the screaming was going to be. I know that after shooting one of the scenes with the parents really getting at it with each other, um, a couple of my like PAs and grips in the other room were like, yeah, we could hear them from the other side of the house, and we were just like, when is this going to be over? But I mean, in the end, I mean, everyone was having a good time. So we because of the fact that we were having people screaming at each other and we were a little bit worried about, well, yeah, about someone calling the authorities to check out the situation, we did limit all of the takes of the parents getting at it to like one or two or three takes, just so we get that done and be done with it. So there's a lot of like, you know, the actors really prepared themselves very well to get everything done in as few takes as possible. Early on in the film, we see what an impact art has on Tiger in that she has really no way to express herself at home to her family. She just sits there in silence. But now, through the power of her drawing, she's able to express things and see the world through a different lens and see what the world could be and what she wants from it. And one of the lessons of the film kind of is not letting yourself be totally trapped in that box of only having the world you want be on that paper. Because as she grows into an adult, we see how she still isn't quite ready to deal with her problems. She still is escaping into her art world whenever she's confronted with something very deep and emotionally troubling. Um, and so I guess one of the messages of this of the movie is to not let your dreams be dreams, I guess, in a very sappy way. So the ending of the film was directly based on a short screenplay that had been written by my co-writer Aaron Brain, which deals with his own feelings with confronting an absent parent, um, and the the kind of nice duality of the film is that we see Tiger's wishes in the footage. Sorry, we see Tiger's wishes in the confrontation that she initially wants, which is lashing out and becoming violent, which would be in its own way perpetuating that cycle of violence where she yelled at him the exact same way her mother would have. But in the end, she decides she doesn't actually want that. She wants to be the person to move on and end that because otherwise, that is a weight that is constantly on her that is going to carry over into her own family. So she knows that she has to overcome that and not let those things weigh down on her for the rest of her life. I'll speak to the challenging aspect first. The Probably the most challenging part of production was right in the middle of pre-production. We had to totally change up what we were going to shoot. We had a limited time frame of when we could shoot this film, and originally we were shooting an entirely different movie. But because of the limited time frame and because of some other restrictions we actually had to shelve that project, and we're going to pick that up sometime I think next year and completely start from scratch with no screenplay. So I had some backup thoughts of movie ideas, like story ideas I wanted based on my family, and I knew of some of the things that my friend Aaron Brame had written. So that night that we scrapped it, I called him up and we talked for 5 hours until 4 in the morning and hashed out the basic storyline of what would become Tiger Wishes. And within a week, we had 6 drafts of the script, and the last draft was what we went with. I think we started casting like 2 weeks later. So that was the most challenging aspect, but that was very rewarding to go from almost nothing to something new and something fun and exciting. Or I mean, not exciting because it's kind of a horrible movie, kind of like emotionally draining. But it was, yeah. So it was very rewarding to have to start from scratch and have it all come together with the help of my friends. I think I probably bit off more than I could chew. In the future, I probably wouldn't do all those roles just because toward the end I was getting so burned out because I've done the same movie for so many like hundreds of hours. Um, but it was very worth it at the end when it was all together. And the first time I showed someone it, and they were like, "What? Whatever." See the reactions to like very intense moments of like the parents yelling at each other and the ending made it all worthwhile. So currently, I'm mainly a cinematographer. To What Tiger Wishes was my first time directing. So I've got other projects in mind to direct later. But for the time being, I've got a couple projects coming up. Uh, Two of the things I was going to shoot were postponed because of COVID. And one of them might be just completely canceled because we haven't really gotten an update on what's going on with it. But the other one will be my first time shooting a feature, and that will be sometime in January, which is very exciting.